Om Namo Narayana. Om Namo Narayana.
Om Namo Narayana. Om Namo Narayana.
Keshava Hari Keshava Hari Keshava Hari Keshava.
Keshava Hari Keshava Hari Keshava Hari Keshava.
Madhava Hari Madhava Hari Madhava Hari Madhava.
Madhava Hari Madhava Hari Madhava Hari Madhava.
Govinda Hari Govinda Hari Govinda Hari Govinda.
Govinda Hari Govinda Hari Govinda Hari Govinda.
Om Namo Narayana. Om Namo Narayana.
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 Om Namo Narayana.
Om Namo Narayana.
Om Namo Narayana.
Om Namo Narayana.
Om Namo Narayana.
Om Namo Narayana.
श्री कृष्णचंद्र भगवान की जय. सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय.
Mangal Arati. This Mangal Arati of Radha Krishna together is composed by Jugal Priya, and this Mangal Arati brings all auspiciousness. मंगल आरती प्रिया प्रीतम की, मंगल प्रीति रीति दोन की, मंगल कांति हसनी दसनन की, मंगल मुरली बीना धुन की, मंगल आरती. त्रिभंगी हरि की, मंगल सेवा सब सहचर की, मंगल सिर चंद्रिका मुकुट की, मंगल छवि नयनन में अटकी, मंगल आरती.
Hari Om everyone. Can you all hear me clearly? Awesome. Yesterday was Ugadi. Ugadi is the new year according to the lunisolar calendar that we all follow in the Hindu almanac system. So it is the new year. Yuga, the next phase or the next year. Adi means beginning of it. In southern part of India, specifically in Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh, they have something called Ugadi Pachadi. Now in this Ugadi Pachadi, Pachadi means something as a lehya, that which you lick upon. There are primarily 6 tastes, and all the 6 tastes are mixed in it. There is one of my favorites is they add abundant amount of neem flower. Oh, it is so tasty. It is pure bitter form. It's like the essence of the neem tree, right? So pure bitter form. So that is delicately added. The flower is delicate. And then mango, and then jaggery, which is fresh from the season. So all 6 tastes mix, and that is served as the prasada after the morning puja, to indicate that when a new beginning comes, one should always have the awareness that life does not promise that there is going to be a bed of roses. Life means all kinds of experiences. There are some bitter ones, some sour ones, some sweet ones, some spicy ones, some salty ones. So you have all kinds of tastes mix in. When you get an opportunity, ask both Brahmachari Hari Chaitanya and Brahmacharini Divya how awesome it was. First, the sweet hits you, and then as you start chewing, the mango sourness hits you. Then everything else becomes secondary as you start chewing upon the smaller petals of the neem flower. Both of them were like, can I down this with some water? Can I drink? I said, no. That's exactly what we do, right? Whenever we are in some bitter experience, we want to get rid of it as soon as possible. The thing is, life doesn't give us that kind of a luxury that we can shove something off because we don't like it. You have to chew on it, swallow it, digest it, and that is what is completeness in the experience. However bad, however ugly, however. So one might say it is so easy for you to say all this when you're not there in the experience. Each one for their own. Each one of us has their own set of good, bad, ugly, indifferent, horrifying, disgusting experiences that we have to go through. It's not a comparative statement or an analysis that my bitterness is better than your bitterness. What kind of a comparison is that? Everybody goes through it. That is called life. So, health issues, emotional issues, there will be ups and downs. That is how life is. And each part has to be celebrated. That is what that Ugadi Pachadi stands for. So, happy New Year to all of you. It's also the beginning of the Chaitra Navaratri. It is celebrated in both invoking the Three Devi, Durga, Lakshmi, and Saraswati Devi, and also to remember Bhagwan Sri Ramchandra Ji, because Bhagwan Sri Ramchandra Ji is to be born on the, this time he is accommodating himself on luxuriously on a Sunday. So he is born on the Navami Tithi. So Navami Tithi, Chaitra Masa, according to the lunar calendar, lunar aspect of the calendar, it is the Chaitra Masa. So he will be coming down on the 9th. So until then, until that 9th, people chant the entire Ramcharitmanas. There is a 9-day Parayana Vidhi, and then there is a grand celebration. These 9 days is also in prep for display of Ramalila. That's a grand thing. Like for 9 days, the entire Ramayana is chronologically shown in several melas. Mela is like a fair where there is katha, fun, and then there is food stalls. There is, it's an charged environment on its own. So if you ever get an opportunity to see that Ram Katha, Ram Leela, it's awesome. It's beautiful. And then on the similar kind is also done during the Navaratri and Vijayadashami. Then there is Ravan Dahan also. So there's all these kinds of activities that start on this Chaitra Shukla Pratipada, which is the first day of the new beginning. So happy Ugadi, happy New Year to all of you. May Bhagwan, may Gurudev bless each one of us with the wisdom, with the stability, with the understanding to take everything in balance. Samatvam yoga uchyate. To take everything in balance is called yoga. May we have that stability to absorb everything that life throws at us. So you look at your own life experiences and say, bring it on. So that is the day you say it. It's just yesterday, so you can say it now also. So let's start with the invocation. I have about 4 questions from 4 of you. I just wanted to ask, you guys like this question answer sessions, right? Let me just 1 second. You all like the question answer session? Give me a up or a down. That's like putting you right on the spot, but still, I'm okay if you do this also, but a good sincere one. So I would love to see questions also sometimes. I don't need to be asking on a Friday evening, guys, I don't have questions. Do you have any? Then you'll have to sit down and think, poor Swamiji doesn't have any questions. Let me create one for him. So please post it by Thursday evening when I ask for questions. Okay, let's begin with the invocation and take up these questions. ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. So the first question was asked by Shivani. So if you can put her, add the spotlight for her. Hari Om Shivani.
Hari Om Swamiji. Hello, Naru.
Bhagunanama. Hope you had your Ugadi Pachadi.
Yes, Swamiji.
Isn't it?
It was quite spicy.
What? Okay. That was what your Prarabdha had for in the Pachadi. Okay. So her question is, because of the bliss sheath, joy comes to the conscious surface and we wrongly attribute that joy to with the material world. Can it be explained where this conscious surface is in terms of the sheath? In which sheath does this wrong attribution of joy with material world occur? Any guesses? You have 5 chances.
The wrong attribution occurs in the Manomaya kosha,
Go one more.
Vijnanamaya kosha.
It happens in the buddhi. That is where the recognition of patterns happens. That is where the conviction is. So it happens in the buddhi. See, when explaining the difference between the mind and the intellect, one of the things that we discussed long time ago in the chapter called mind. So you'll have to go back all the way. So there we had discussed that mind is like a collecting agency from 5 different sources of input, which is called the Jnanendriyas. The information comes in and it consolidates it into one package of experience. It's like tons of information comes in, data comes in, but it nicely packages it into, gift wraps it for buddhi to analyze it. The buddhi, it shreds it down, looks into all the data points, and then makes it into a cognizable package of experience. Like it has understood. And from there on, it starts into the direction of deciding what to do with that package. So sometimes when the brahmacharyans and me are sitting at a dining table, some discussion, and I randomly give out some data points which are, if you just look at the data point, it is like a useless piece of information. And I wonder how many such useless pieces of information buddhi has already grasped, right? So it has this capacity to file all of it in its own tagging pattern, and it files it so that it can use that data point. It also is a place where it recognizes and experiences. So because of its recognition, then the joy, sukha and dukkha, is experienced at the mind level after it has processed it. Therefore, in Tattva Bodha, if you remember, that's also long time ago in the EF course, there, the way mana is described, it is like sukha dukkha bhoga ayatanam. It is called the abode of enjoyment. Like the sharira is the pravesha dwara, it is the entrance for all of these experiences to come in, but it is enjoyed or suffered in the mind, but it has to go via the intellect, get processed, and then it is experienced, cherished, or despised as per the case in the mind. That is where it surfaces finally as an experience. So it goes through the intellect, and then, but if you say directly the mind, it is not a direct experience of sukha and dukkha in the mind. It is the processed evaluation that is experienced in the mind itself. But who processes it? It is the intellect. That step has to be included.
Can I ask a follow-up question, Swamiji?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
after the sukha and dukkha is experienced in the mind, does that become a vasana in the Anandamaya kosha?
Anandamaya kosha, that should not be the angle of saying it, but it is, yes, it becomes vasana. Because the moment you say it is vasana, it is already that karana sharira or the anandamaya kosha or the vasana. They are all synonyms, kind of. Ajnana, it becomes, it is stored in there.
So does that vasana also influence what the mind labels after it goes to the...
Definitely. That is how we label everything. Good, bad, ugly. How do we know?
Okay. So it's a 3-layer process.
If you want to include that as well, yes. The further continuation after the sukha and dukkha Yes, it is stored in the tendencies,
Mm.
in vasanas, and then that vasana influences my desire.
Mm.
Desire trickles down into thought, word, action, and that action is performed so that you are anticipating that kind of an experience to repeat it. Sometimes we repeat dukkha also. What a pathetic situation, right? We desire for dukkha to reoccur. When I said that, I'm, say, missing someone where it is, I'm tearing up. And the people have efficient methods of reminding themselves again and again and tearing up again and again and again. Right? You're going through dukkha, but not without this whole processing. So if you stop the processing, then the experience would not be that repetitive. That's again choice.
Mm.
Yeah. Is it clarified?
Yes.
Okay, good. So that was with regards to the question from Shivani. Thank you, Shivani.
Thank you so much.
Now the next one is from Siddhartha.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Hari Om. You also ate your spicy pachadi?
Yes. Yep, just as spicy.
Was it in the Chinmay mission or was it at your place?
No. It was at my place. Yeah. We had all gathered and had the same one.
One maker and it is a samashti prarabdha.
Yep.
Okay, your kosha. A different one, but very good question. How do the koshas differ for other animals, plants, etc.? For example, different living beings have different physiologies and differences in the functionings of manas and buddhi. You answered it as well. Supposing you shift from your house to a new place and you did not find a good house, a northeast facing house, right, with a southeast, with certain kind of and with the agneyam in the kitchen and all this vastu. So you're searching for it, but the apartment that you have taken cannot accommodate all that which you had in the earlier house in the earlier city. So where do you put all the extra luggage, extra boxes that you have come in with?
Storage box.
24/7 weather protected storage containers, storage boxes, storage places. How long will they stay there?
Until they're needed again, or there is room for them to be taken out.
Until you find the proper room for it to be taken out. When you move into your new house with all your parameters fixed in, then all of that comes back again. Similarly, when from a human birth, say, I travel into a python, because in human life I have been lethargic, tamasic, doing nothing productive, eating, loitering, sleeping, again eating, again loitering, again sleeping. So you are blessed with a python life. Now, does the python have ears? Does the python have hands and legs? Does the python have none of these faculties? Because in the new apartment that I have shifted to, there is no room for it. So where does it get stored? Because it is all the faculty, right? The indriyas are the Limbs are not there. Anga and Upanga are not there. Limbs are not there. So the faculty, the software, it remains soft. It remains unreleased. Right? So what happens to the animals and plants? Whatever that particular feature of the apartment can reveal or allowed to be revealed, that much it will. Now trees, plants, they're sensitive. When you talk to them, they'll respond back to you. And you have definitely seen in the animals, if you have a dog or a cat, or they definitely respond back to you. And sometimes they are sensitive as well. If you are feeling sad, if you are I've seen in somebody's house, they had a dog. It was a rowdy dog, like very, very rough, like barks but along in the guest there was a pregnant woman. As soon as she could figure that she was pregnant, she went, sat down next to her like a timid, completely under control. And if somebody were to, mess around with her, she would like, and she became protective of that lady. Which is quite, so that faculty is there. Is there that mana? Probably. Is there that buddhi that decided that, she is pregnant and just very tiny bit, but it is acting very selflessly. There are, do the plants have such? In that faculty, whatever it can allow it to express, it will express. Otherwise, it is in the storage in the soft form.
Swamiji, I have a follow-up question then. If that's okay. So what is this metaphorical storage box then?
You tell me.
Is it at the Vasana level that has not been expressed?
See, everything need not be answered in Panchakosha. There is a different kind of classifications we have gone through. So there is the classification of Mana, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankara. 4 different facets of the Antakarana. Then there is the classification of Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya and Anandamaya, the 5 sheaths. There is also Sthula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira and Karana Sharira. All of these faculties are stored in that Karana Sharira. Karana Sharira can be called as Vasana. But in this particular question that you have asked, it would be more specific if we say Karana Sharira it is stored in, rather than as, in Vasanas.
Okay. So both, I guess the way to look at it would be then Vasanas and this metaphorical storage box are both in the Karana Sharira.
Is the Karana Sharira.
Is the Karana Sharira.
But we will use the Karana Sharira for a better clarity of understanding.
Okay. Thank you, Swamiji.
Thank you. So that ends. Now we have another interesting question here. Hemant. Hari Om da. Sakyam?
Sakyam, Swamiji Pedkar.
Nadu Sakyam Dada. I am also doing well. I'm trying to match the pitch of your voice. Okay. Hemant, your question, very interesting, beautiful question again. Are the koshas tied in any way to the 7 chakras? Ta-da! It's like 2 different layers and trying to match it, see where does it fit in. When we are talking about the Vedanta Shastra, Advaita Vedanta Shastra, we don't go much into the Yoga Kriya where there is a lot of discussion on the chakras. Starts from Mooladhara to Sahasrara. It is on the spinal cord. And that which is on the spinal cord is not like a physical thing. These chakras are visible at the point where there are lot of nerves crisscrossing. So it is not that our body has only 7 chakras. The total of 108 chakras. Within these 108 chakras, 7 of them are major ones, which are on the spinal cord. The rest of them are minor, so 101 of them are minor. So you will find it on the wrist, on the elbow area here, and then various joints where the nerves cross path. It creates that magnetic field of its own, chakra field of its own. But these are minor ones, so the field is, and that is why we say you have to chant the mantra 108 times, because mantra is like fine-tuning and reorganizing these chakras to clean any kind of reminiscent effects. But one thing to note is all these chakras are primarily around the nervous system. So these 5 layers that we have, which is Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya and Anandamaya. Now all these layers are connected with this nervous system to send a lot of, like, the Pranamaya kosha specifically, there is Samana. Now Samana is the balancing act. It brings balance, like pressure balance. Suddenly we are at a height of 14,000 plus, and people have, if you have blood pressure, then there is kind of a disturbance that you go through. Why do you go through that disturbance? You go through that disturbance because there is the pressure of the environment that impacts your pressure. So the body has to acclimatize to get used to it. Then the temperature balance. So there is a lot of this balancing act, and it is connected through the nervous system that it functions, is to be understood. Now these 7 chakras are on the spinal cord, and the Kundalini, it rises in through these 7 chakras, and it doesn't raise through the normal nervous system. And because we are on that topic, there are 72,000 nerves. According to the Ayurvedic literature, there are 72,001. 72,000 are physical. That one is which connects these 7 chakras. That is called the Sushumna Nadi, which is a subtle Nadi. You will not be able to see it physically. So through that, this subtle energy rises up, goes to the Sahasrara, filling that 1,000-petaled chakra, and from there it again oozes out and comes back through the system, and there is a loop formed. And when that loop is complete, then you are in a state of ecstasy, as in bliss. And to maintain that, you practice through the yoga kriya, and it does have an impact because it connects and supplies several aspects through the nervous system, which the body is connected, which the pranas are connected, which the prana also then is connected with the mana and buddhi. So that is how they are designed to be connected to support each other. Any other questions on that?
It's a lot to take in, so I think I'll leave it at this for now and
Thank you.
absorb what has been said so far.
Thank
Andri.
you. Nandri for not extending any further questions on this. Thank you, Da.
Thank you. Hari.
Hariyo. Now, the fourth question that I have is from Aparna. This is an intense question. हरिओम बेटा, कैसे हो?
हरिओम स्वामी जी, मस्त मजे में। आप
अरे
कैसे
वाह,
हैं?
मैं भी एकदम मस्त मजे में. Nothing less can ever work. So your question was, if the bliss sheath is known by identification, I do not know anything. And if during deep sleep the intellectual sheath is unmanifest, then how do we remember that we experience it in the deep sleep after the fact that there is no memory faculty to record the experience? See, it is like when the memory, when it is in deep sleep, imagine it like a camera which is 24/7 surveillance. When there is light, it will capture everything, right? When the light is off, right, what does the camera capture?
Darkness.
So there is the idea of that whole experience of deep sleep is, you said identification, it is more of recognizing that space in the memory where there is absence of movement. Otherwise there's constant movement happening. Even in the dream state, there is a lot of movement happening. As much as there is happening in the waking world, in the dream world also there's a lot of happening. But absence of movement, meaning there's nothing recorded there. That nothing recorded is what we are translating it as I don't know anything. Because there was nothing recorded at that time to speak of. But how do I feel? I feel quite energetic and refreshed. So it is that way that we recognize that there was nothing recorded. But there is that Atma Chaitanya, the self within, which is illumining the fact that there is nothing being recorded. Now the beauty is, this Atma Chaitanya does not have to go through the memory or evaluation from the intellect to get validated that there is nothing recorded. It illumines because its nature is to illumine. Nothing being in the transaction is the portion of recording which it has illumined. Sonia?
I have a follow-up question, Swami.
Okay.
So, the memory, when it's unmanifest, can it remember that it is unmanifest? Like, I thought that when it is unmanifest, it's like non-functional.
During that time it cannot, but as soon as you wake up, it says, oh, there is an empty space in the last 1 hour because satsang lasts for 1 hour. So there is that empty space there. Kya hua hoga? By experience, it says you must have been knocked out cold. You must have been asleep. During the deep sleep, there is no such evaluation happening. Evaluation of the memory. It happens only when you wake up. But a technical question, pucha, huh?
Yes, I will have to think on it.
Yeah. Okay, that seems to end our questions, to my amusement, quite quickly. So I don't have any further questions. So we can conclude for the day after our Hemant can sing Hanuman Chalisa and Brahmachari Hari Chaitanya will chant the Mahamrityunjaya mantra, and then at the end we'll do Shanti Patha and conclude. So Hemant, can you please do that?
Yes. Okay. Shri Guru Charana Saroja Raja Nij Mana Mukura Sudari Barano Raghuvar Bimala Jasu जोधायक फलचारी बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरो पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेस विकार जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीश तिहु लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बलधाम अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नाम महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन वरण विराज सुवेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्र हो ध्वजा बिराजे कांधे मूंज जनेयु साजे शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के काज सवारे लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुवीर हर्षि उर लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरत ही सम भाई सहस बदन तुम रोजस गावे अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित ईसा यम कुबेर दिक्पाल जहाते कवि कोविद कहि सके कहाते तुम उपकार सुग्रीव ही कीना राम मिलाय राजपद दीना तुमरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जान युग सहस्र जो जन पर भानु लील्योता ही मधुर फल जानु प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माहि चल दिलांग गए अचरज नाही दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुमरे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होतन आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे सब सुख लहे तुम्हारी शरण तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज सवारो आपे तीनों लोक हाकते कांपे भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे महावीर जब नाम सुनावे नासे रोग हरे सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीरा संकट से हनुमान छुड़ावे मन क्रम बचन ध्यान जो लावे सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे चारों युग परताप तुम्हारा है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा साधु संत के तुम रखवारे असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे अष्ट सिद्धि नवनिधि के दाता असुवर दीन जानकी माता राम रसायन तुम्हारे पास सदा रहो रघुपति के दास तुम्हारे भजन राम को भावे जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे, अंत काल रघुवरपुर जाई, जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई, और देवता चित्तन धरई, हनुमत से ही सर्व सुख करई, संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा, जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलवीरा, जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई, कृपा करो गुरुदेव की नाई, जो शत बार पाठ कर कोई, छूट ही बंति महासुख होई, जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा, होई सिद्धि साखी गौरीसा, तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा, कीजय नाथ हृदय मह डेरा, कीजय नाथ हृदय मह डेरा, पवन तनय संकट हरण, मंगल मूर्ति रूप, राम लखन सीता सहित, हृदय बसहु सुरभूप, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, उमापति महादेव की जय, बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय।
ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्। ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्। ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्। Thank you, Hari. Thank you, Hemant. Let us conclude. ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। असतो मा सद्गमय, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय, मृत्योर्मा अमृतङ्गमय। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते, पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। Stay safe. Have an amazing weekend ahead. See you around next week with my questions for all of you. So be ready.